Howdy. In this video, I'm driving up the coast of Southern California and over to a beautiful state park outside of Los Angeles for a quick camping trip. I shot a lot of film along the way, so I'm really excited to show you the results and kind of what came of this little adventure. I was after the morning light, so after a quick goodbye to the biggest threat to the structural integrity of this apartment complex, I got on the road and got moving. So we're in Encinitas. This is just a town that's on the coast. The sun's on its way up. And so we're just gonna wait for that to happen and then we're gonna go out and shoot. As far as film for the trip goes, I brought along a few different rolls. I brought one roll of Color Plus 200, two rolls of Gold 200, a roll of Extrachrome 100, and a surprise fifth roll that I was only going to use if the conditions were absolutely perfect. Also, for some reason, all my local film shops were out of gold, which is kind of crazy because I see that as the very entry level film stock. So I had to order it online and failed to read the description that said it was only 24 exposure rolls. It's definitely my fault, but still a bit of a bummer nevertheless. Gold was one of those stocks that I shot a lot of when I first got into film photography. I think at some point over the years, I got a little more attracted to some tungsten balanced films, Fuji stocks, and the more professional Kodak ones. Though I think the way gold renders light is great for morning shoots as well as evening shoots, which is kind of what I was after this morning. And yeah, per usual, it doesn't disappoint. The first stop I made didn't have as many photo opportunities as I was hoping it would. I stopped in a neighborhood that was on the way to Oceanside. The houses kind of blocked most of the light and it was kind of harsh and contrasty, so it didn't work out as well as I wanted. So I ended up heading to where I knew I was going to spend most of my morning, which was the Oceanside Pier. I think this shot's really great. Definitely one of the best from the roll. I really like the balance, the kind of main subject being on the left side, but a lamppost being up extended high to the right. I do think it created maybe a bit too much negative space in the sky, but I think it's a cool composition. It's got nice colors, so it checks the boxes for me. Nice. I also really enjoyed these other shots I got from the pier. They're definitely in the same vein of that first image, but the warm tones and the subjects I think were really cool, and they turned out nice. The other thing about this roll of gold, when I got to the car, I realized that my camera was set on 12 ISO, which for a 200 ISO stock is 4 stops overexposed. I talked to my film lab and they were able to pull it a little bit in development to kind of recover a bit of the information, and it actually turned out really usable. I think it goes to show how much range that color negative film can have with overexposure. I think if this was the other way around and I shot at like 3200, for example, that roll would have been worthless. Next up, I got some food and gas on the way out of town and headed toward Chino Hills State Park, which is where my campsite was and where I was going to be spending a majority of the day. The park was really beautiful. We had a good amount of rain in early January, quite a bit for Southern California standards, so everything was really green, the flowers were blooming, and the whole park was just almost like a painting. It's a little windy. I'm sure that's coming through great. We've made it to the park, and it is really something. Where I parked was pretty close to the trailhead that I was planning on doing, so I got my camera gear and started hiking up towards the top of the trail. And those were the last couple of shots in the Color Plus roll. I don't think compositionally any of them were fantastic, but the colors are really good and kind of carried the shots. Now, I mentioned a roll of film earlier that I said I was only going to use if I felt like the conditions were perfect, and they were. So I got out my roll of Fuji Industrial 100. This is a stock that I've been holding on to for almost a year now. I purchased two 24 exposure rolls from a Japanese website, and for those who know anything about Fuji stocks, they lean pretty heavy into the greens and the blues, so this was kind of the perfect place to shoot the first roll of it and see what kind of results I would get. And yeah, the greens on these shots just feels so perfect. I was really going for a kind of Studio Ghibli vibe, and I think it really nails it. The only thing I maybe would have wanted was a couple more sporadic bright white clouds for some contrast in the sky, but the blue looks good too, and I think these shots turned out really awesome. When I was at the south entrance, one of the rangers told me about a barn that was kind of close to where my campground was, so I thought it would make a good subject to kind of go and look at. It was definitely a lot smaller than I was expecting. I think when I pictured a barn, I pictured something that maybe I would be able to do a little bit more shooting with, but it was kind of more of a shed. That being said, it was a nice color contrast. It was red, so I got to put it in a couple of shots, and yeah, I think it looked cool. And after that, the day sort of ended for me. I ended up leaving the park so I could go into town and grab some dinner, because I wasn't trusting my pocket stove with how heavy the winds were that day. So I got some food and came back to my campsite, where I kind of just hung out for the evening.
All right. It is morning. The sun's out. And I have another roll of gold to go shoot. My phone is completely dead. And I forgot to bring something to charge it with other than the cord that's in my car. I also, among many things, forgot to bring a hat for my hair. Because I can see I have something happening up here. I'm not sure if the gates are open, and I don't know if I want to go all the way down to check. But I think I'm going to get out of the car and just kind of get ready to get moving. So hopefully I don't wake anybody up. Campground's pretty empty, but not very quiet.
I loaded up another roll of gold so I could shoot some photos around my campsite in the morning. Alright, and that was about it for the trip. I did have to drive through LA to get back to San Diego, so I wanted to leave the park pretty early to avoid any sort of traffic or anything. Even though the trip was pretty quick, I had a really good time. Part of this was just a test to see how it would be filming myself, as well as trying to shoot along the way, and also enjoy my time camping and kind of figure out exactly what went well and what didn't go well. I think next time I do one of these, I'm going to capture a lot more footage. I don't think I was quite ready for how much footage wouldn't be really usable, whether it was missed autofocus or just not a good shot or really shaky. There was a lot of footage that I ended up just cutting because it didn't really look good. Also, I was definitely a little limited by the battery life of this camera. I'm not going to be upgrading anytime soon because I have no idea if this is going to be something that I do regularly, and I don't need to invest that kind of money. But this camera definitely doesn't last much longer than 20 to 30 minutes of recording video on a single charge, so it definitely felt a bit limiting. I think next time I can maybe try a little harder to incorporate more iPhone footage, or maybe make a lesser investment like a GoPro to kind of have some more supplemental footage to add to these. Anyways, I really enjoyed this camping trip. I definitely want to do more of them in the future. It's been a while since I've really gotten to get out there and take a trip, so this was a ton of fun, and I loved shooting all the film along the way, and I think I got a couple good shots in there too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.